Hello everyone to a new segment I'm entitling Stats Lab, where we talk about some of the stats and interesting things from the SPL over the last couple of weeks, over the last week in general, I should say. And well, a lot of you may have noticed me tweeting out some interesting statistics about the SPL and stuff like that. So I figured, why not do a video about it as well for people that subscribe to me on YouTube and all that. Also, you get to see some more of the numbers. Like you can see here, I've kind of got the combined stats of both regions up here, whereas I've just been posting on Twitter about kind of the top three in each kind of statistical category. So let's dive in and take a look at some of the stats leaders for the SPL midway through the split. Now, the one that everyone focuses on, the most important stat, a lot of people would say, is KDA, and I mean, no surprises here. Adapting, the far and away leader in this category, but having an absolute monster of a split. Like, everyone else on NGG is so fantastically talented, but he's carrying them anyway. Like, they don't even need carrying, but he's doing it anyway. 22.83 is his KDA. And you might notice his KDA 2 stat, that is where you halve the assists when you're adding them to the kills and then dividing by deaths. Because I think Hi-Rez used this stat rather than the regular KDA. And even still here, he's still far and away the leader, 16.67. But I just focus really on the normal KDA, 22.83. 22.83. That's absolutely insane. That's nuts. That is nuts. The reason for that, because we'll get into these categories next as well, is the high number of kills, the low number of deaths, and the high number of assists. Adapting leads the league in kills as well. He leads the league in least deaths, and by the way, he is top 20 in assists as well. So Adapting have an absolute baller of a split, and his teammate Yaman is having an extra solid split of his own as well. 9.58 KDA, 6.42 if you're going by the other method. Second most in the league. And that's because, like Adapting, he's been playing very safe and not dying a whole lot. Only 12 deaths to himself. Decent amount of kills in 39. Not one of the league leaders, but still a solid amount of kills. And 76 assists. And, we could take a quick scroll down the assist category. You can see the energy guys all have got a pretty high amount of assists. So HughZ's actually got the third most in the league, the most in Europe as well. So these energy guys, they're really coming together. This should be a scary sign for anyone else in the league. And I feel like this energy roster isn't really getting the love that they should, because they are turning it back on whatever the spark was they had in Season 2 and Season 3 that they kind of lost a little bit in Season 4. They've got it back, baby. They've got it back in spades. And boy, howdy, they are a dangerous team right now. They might be the best team right now. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and say they are the best team right now. And everyone else should be shaking in their boots. Because when these guys decide to be the best again, there's not much you can do to stop them. However, one of the teams in the past that has stopped them, especially last season, was Team Rival. And HughZ is actually your number 3 KDA here. Huge amount of assists for him, not a whole lot of deaths, and a decent amount of kills for a support. But mainly the high number of assists and low number of deaths for a support is really what's setting HughZ aside here from a lot of other supports. You can see HughZ has got the next least deaths for a support, and he's got a higher KDA here as well than a lot of other supports. So really solid work out of HughZ and the rival guys thus far. The split, they took the first set off energy in week number 1. I don't think we're going to see that happening again. I think this energy team is growing and learning, and I think a lot of the other EU teams are learning as well, but this energy team is just learning at a really accelerated pace. Especially this new meta, and I think because it really favors jungling, that's what's going to be scary to all these teams, because Adapting, this is his meta, and he's having a ball with it. But HughZ and the rest of Team Rival doing great work themselves. FunOK drops a fair bit in the KDA charts after the loss to E United and the games against LG, where he died a few times. He's still got a really low number of deaths, but it's just really brought down that KDA. Deathwalker, HughZ, Arkle, Ice Baby. Ocean's in there just from having subbed in for his game. Got a nice stat line for himself. Wolfie, Fred, Jeff. All really solid performances at the top end of the board here. But let's take a look now at kills. So no surprises, as we said. Adapting at the top here. 63 kills. Just topping the leaderboards. Having a super solid split for himself. Well, more than solid. Having a pretty amazing damn split for himself. Then we got Baskin from Space Station, who now he's having a solid split, and kind of bordering on spectacular, but it's not quite at the same level as what Adapting's having, and that's just from the fact I think that energy week 1 they didn't look solid as a unit, but then week 2 onwards they've really come together as a team. Space Station, they've got they're in a very similar position to Energy, I think. They've got all the pieces there to be a super solid team, but they're just taking a little bit longer to mesh together as a team. Again, and I think that's a little bit of an advantage Energy has, is that they replaced one member. They replaced Rafa with HughZ. And HughZ, it seems like he's a personality that can really integrate well into a team. Now, Space Station, they bring Andy back in, instead of Mask. So they make the one change. And I think that's a little bit of a harder integration to come in. I think with support now, it's a little bit easier for them to come in and fit as part of a team, whereas a jungler coming in and fitting a team again, a little bit more difficult, because even though Andy and Basket have played together before, I don't know if they've ever played together before as jungle and mid. And so that's a very important synergy to have. And I think just overall, the synergy of this team is just a little bit off. It requires a little bit more tightening up, a little bit more time playing together, and then this team will be ready to kind of ascend the ranks once more. But Baskin's having a really nice split for himself, and he's definitely the staple of this team thus far. He's keeping this team at the high end of the North American SPL rankings, and so, props to Baskin, having a great split. Mask as well. Now, he surprised me, this split, with his, he's got a high kill count, he's got a decent KDA as well, and overall, when you watch Trifecta play, really it's Mask and it's Neil, who are really setting the pace of that team. Scary D's had a couple of good games, Met Yankees had a couple of solid games, Zatman's had a couple of solid games, he's a bit up and down, even he himself has tweeted out he's been a bit inconsistent. But Mask and Neil have really been setting the pace in terms of, I guess, how this team runs. And that's kind of what you expect out of the jungle and support. That they're the shot callers are the main callers of the team, because they're the ones rotating around the most. But Mask has been very impressive, especially when you think of the way he ended his tenure with Luminosity, and how, I mean, it was just bad. We saw at Worlds, everyone saw it was just bad. And I think even Mask himself noted he played bad, and I think that's a fair comment to make. But he's really stepped it up. And I think being in a new place with some new teammates, maybe being reunited with Scary D, but playing with these new teammates has really reinvigorated him to where it's kind of Season 3 Mask, when he had a really good run of form, especially at the SWC there. We got Cuvo Fred here in 4th. He was the leader last week, but he had played an extra set compared to most other players. And then with the 0-2 loss to Energy this week, not a whole lot of opportunities to get kills in an 0-2 loss. He's still sitting solid at the 4th position. Not a whole lot of deaths for him either. Pretty impressive, pretty decent KDA as well. So Fred having a really fantastic split, but adapting is just showing up and showing him up, really. And I think Fred and the rest of the team, Dignitas guys, they start off the split well, but they need to keep that pace going. And the stumble against Energy this week was a big stumble for them, and I'm very much looking forward to the set, the repeat set this week coming up between Dignitas and Energy. I think that's going to be a great set to watch again, because I think Dignitas learned a lot from that set from Energy. I think they really got challenged for the first time this split. Homie Faye from Counterlogic Gaming, tied with Fred in kills, having a great split. Really love the work from CLG. What I love about CLG is that the players have got a lot of individual talent. They may never have been considered the best at their position in the world, right? I think maybe Snoopy was at one point considered the best hunter in the world, but the rest of the team, Jigs, Horrorwind, Homie Faye, and Finake, none of them at any point have really been considered the best in the world. Whereas a lot of other teams, a lot of these other players, they've all at one time or another been considered the best in their role in the world, or even the best player in the world. But what I love about CLG is that doesn't matter to them, because they are playing so solidly together as a team. They're really well integrated as a team. They're really, you can see, kind of on the same page, really following the calls, really respecting each other and passing information, and really playing a great technical style of Smite. I just want to see that stepped up a little bit more. I want to see a little bit more confidence out of them, I think. It's tough to put your finger on, because they were undefeated up until the set against E United. And I'm not sure what it was that E United did. And I think it was that E United kind of went in there with a lack of expectations from themselves and went in there just to play good Smite. That kind of threw CLG off a little bit. I think E United played very confidently and very aggressively, and that might have thrown CLG off a little bit. So I want to see them learn from that and adapt and come back even stronger next week. Sinosure from Splice and Twig from Obey Alliance next up on the kill charts. It's funny to see. Look at this. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The top 10 in kills in the SPL are junglers bar Baskin. So 9 of the top 10 in kills is jungle, right? So this is a jungle meta right now. And if you've got a good jungler, you're sitting pretty. So yeah, Sinosure, Twig, Andy, Weaken, Scream. And then down here we got Ice Baby, Fails down here. Cheerio is the lowest placed jungler. So you can, and he's roughly about middle of the pack as well. So junglers having fun right now. All right, let's go to assists now. And finally we see a North American on top of the standings here. Aurora at 109. Jeff Hindler 1 assist behind at 108. They both have the same amount of kills. Jeff's got slightly less deaths than Aurora does. And then we've got HughZ and Neilmar, 105 assists apiece. Jigs from Logic Gaming, 104. Supports this season, I don't know what it's like to play support, but from what I've seen just watching some SPL, it looks like supports are really having a great impact this season. I've seen so much great peel for teammates, so much great initiation. It looks like supports are really finally starting to have the impact that they should have. And I really like that. I really love seeing great support play, because I think support might be the most difficult role to play. Because you're not about getting kills. You have to trust in your teammates to get the kills off the back of your aggression, or you have to try and keep your teammates alive while peeling for them against the enemy's aggression. I think that is so difficult to do at a high level, and also at the same time to be providing communication, to be counting relics and things like that, looking at objectives. So the top level support play is so fun to me to watch. See, Aurora with 109 assists. Really great stuff from him. Jeff, 108. Emilzy, 105. Neil, 105. Jigs, 104. Kalas, 98. Sinosure, 89. Fino K, 87. So jungle and solo here are taking up some spots, but, the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they're all supports. And then it's jungles and solos. MLE2, actually, a high number of assists for ADC, 77, and only 31 kills. PBM, there's a whole bunch of people here on 77. Excuse me. So, but assist heavy, definitely at the top level here. 109 assists. It's pretty insane. And the final thing we're going to look at is the least amount of deaths. Now, Oceans technically tops it here, but as he's a sub, I don't really count him in my official statistics because he only played one set, I think. That doesn't really count. HughZ has played a couple of sets now, so I'm including him in the statistical counts. But even still, Adapting has played, I think, 11 games, and HughZ has played 4 or 5, something like that. And Adapting has half his deaths, which is pretty impressive. Yaman has the same amount of deaths as HughZ. But even if you want to take him out of things, you look there at Deathwalker, Kalas, Arkle, and a bunch of guys on Team Dignitas here, as well as Fino K and Zalia, very low on the death counts. In fact, I think it's only Trixtank who's got higher than 20 deaths on Team Dignitas, and a lot of these deaths came against Energy in that set. So other than that, the Team Dignitas guys have been having a pretty good split thus far, pretty solid splits overall. But yeah, Adapting 6 deaths. You got to think about the split Adapting has been having so far. Most kills, highest KDA, least deaths. 3 of the 4 statistical categories, or the main statistical categories that you measure, Adapting is leading. The King is back. King is back. Nothing else to say really there. Yaman, as I pointed out in his KDA, having a super solid split thus far, staying very, very safe. And when Adapting and Yaman aren't dying a whole lot, that means they're able to stay on the map, they're able to stay getting gold and experience and getting more kills, and that is just bad news for any other team. You've got to put these guys in the ground. You've really got to focus these two if you want to beat Energy. These two are the carries of Energy. Right, Adapting a little bit more so than Yaman, even though Yaman's got a World's MVP and Adapting doesn't yet. Oh, I don't want to do that. That'll mess up my stats. And I think that's probably a little bit, that probably ticks Adapting off a little bit, is that he hasn't got a World's MVP yet. But he's definitely my pick for MVP thus far, this split. Definitely the midway point. If you're going to have a midway MVP, Adapting is it. But Yaman is also having a really great split. And the fact that these two aren't getting touched too much is a worry or should be a worry for teams that have to face Energy. Deathwalker and Kalas having very low deaths as well. Deathwalker, kind of the face of Energy, the face of rival, and Colas really kind of the leader of that team as well, being kind of the guy who was the substitute for Paradigm, and then really I think was the only known name on this team when they first formed back in the Cyclone GG days. And so a lot of people have a lot of respect for him as a support. A lot of talk about him being the best support, not only in EU but in the world as well. And at Worlds he had a great showing as well, and he's having a very good split thus far. Arco's been pretty quiet, I would say, from Team Dignitas, but he's been quietly working hard. And I think his death count kind of shows that. There's a lot of games where even when Team Dignitas has lost, that he's only had 0 or 1 deaths. So he's playing really, really well out of that ADC position, and I think he's probably my pick for best ADC right now. And he's just the quiet worker, and he's doing his job and he's doing it well. And then we got Finer, K, Zeros, Variety, Zalia, Kubo, Jigs, and then the rest of Team Rival. So not a whole lot of deaths actually for Team Rival. So that's going to do it for the first episode of Stats Lab. I think I'm going to add some more to these videos in the future, maybe looking at interesting specific statistics like, how many times someone's got double-digit kills, or, looking at things like when X player gets this many kills, their team wins this many times. You have to expand the spreadsheets for that, but this is just kind of the first episode, exploring the format, seeing what people like about it, seeing if they want more. And yeah, just, let me know what you guys think in the comments on Twitter, wherever I post this. Let me know what you think. I hope that you enjoyed it. This was Stats Lab. Week 3 of the SPL is done. There'll be a recap out soon. I'm sure you'll see lots of my tweets. Catch you next time.